Honestly, Emery, I will be quiet this time, for real.
For real? First time for everything, ain't it? All right. Welcome back to another episode, everybody. My name's Emery Walt. Joining me is
Nicole.
And we are just two camera guys. This is a podcast where we're going to talk about all things camera. Still talking about the Moose Jaw Film Festival. We've done 7 interviews. Is that how many we've done?
7, 8. I reached out to everybody me saying I reached out to everybody means I might have missed some people, but I reached out to everybody in the short films and experimental films. And so the guests are the ones that have responded, and I think we'll probably do a few more after the festival too. So
that's not a bad idea. Maybe get some reactions, see what people thought of it, see if they had a good time or not. Hopefully they do.
Yeah, where we can improve and get better.
Yeah, right. Actually, that's good stuff. That'd be good takeaways for you and Jeremy and the crew putting it on. Do you know what? We've talked this thing to death. If you haven't got your tickets yet, go to the moosejawfilmfestival.com, get your tickets, join in. The festival is Saturday, so it is soon. So yeah, get that done, and we'll maybe see you guys out there Saturday. I'm going to bring in our guest here. So joining us is Nicole. She's got one of the short films here called I'm Not Your Daughter, I'm Something Worse.
It was nominated for the experimental film category, and it'll be also screened at the festival. Block 2, I believe it's the 12 o'clock block.
Yes.
Nice. Perfect. Nicole, do you want to break down I'm Not Your Daughter, I'm Something Worse? What is it about? What does it all partake?
Yeah, it's one of the shorter films that will be screened. It's about 4 minutes long, and it is a stop motion film about birthdays, queer family lineage, and growing older. It is my first ever stop motion film. So
what? Really?
It was a lot of trial and error learning that went into this, but I was able to self-produce the whole thing. So I built all the sets by hand, the puppets, the props. I did the anime overlays and the scripting, scoring, edited the whole thing. So it took me 8 to 9 months, kind of a stop and go process. I moved houses in the middle of it. I got a new job in the middle of it. So it was quite a process, but it was fun. I've done a lot of different experimental films in the past, but never stop motion. And I just kind of got the bug. I just kind of wanted to give it a go, and then did my best.
Nice. I'd say if it's your first one, you did pretty damn good.
Wow.
Stop motion ain't easy, that's for sure.
No.
What made you choose stop motion animation? And you just dove head in. What is going on there?
I don't have a specific reason as to why I thought that was the format I wanted to do. I've always admired stop motion and have never necessarily thought too much about the mechanics. Sometimes you'll see those behind the scenes of people sped up over the course of 10 hours of work in 2 seconds. And that was kind of all the basis I had to go off of. But the whole thing is kind of inspired by a conversation I had with my friend, which is why there's this conversation on a cell phone throughout the whole film. And I just wanted to do something more interesting with the visuals. It was when it's kind of based off of an actual story and an actual conversation that I kind of felt like a 4-minute film just with me or a friend acting, it wouldn't necessarily give it that much, the je ne sais quoi. So I wanted to find a different, more creative way to talk about our discussion.
Nice.
So did you want a specific takeaway from the film, or was it one of those each can kind of have their own takeaway, or what would you want us to take away from the film?
Kind of whatever people want to take away from it. There is kind of a intentional meaning there that's not necessarily going to apply to all people, but there's kind of some intersecting concepts that I think will resonate with people and leave room for some ambiguity. So the conversation that this film is about was, I guess I can just tell you about it. It's not going to spoil anything. My one friend named Luca, my good friend, they have family in Barbados, but they do not live in Barbados. And so they attended a Zoom funeral for one of their uncles, which is strange. It was a strange experience for them to be at a Zoom funeral. And there were so many family members there that they did not know, hadn't met before. And through asking their mom about, who's this person they mentioned? How did this person die? She'd brought up that they had family who died from AIDS. And this friend of mine, being genderqueer, being non-binary, found that quite astonishing. Didn't know that they had any queer relatives at all. And we just kind of got talking about the concept of queer lineage. And when it was thrown back at me, thinking on how I don't have any queer people in my family before me, I have some people after me, but kind of what that means in our families. Is it something to be scared of? Is it like a pride point? It's almost a big thing that we don't really talk about. So that's what the film is about, kind of like heritage, but specific to that queer lens. Simultaneously, part of why I wanted to make it into a film is I just know so many people who hate their birthdays. Just, it comes with complex emotions. And I know definitely it did for me when I was young. I was depressed on my birthday all the time because it felt like people just didn't really know me. It came out a lot. It was either people forgetting my birthday. It would be, maybe I'm 18 and my parents give me a Polly Pocket and I'm like, who do you think I am? Do you see who I've changed and who I've grown into? And I think that's carried into a lot of people's adulthood. I know many people who don't want to tell the restaurant waiters that it's their birthday. They try to keep it on the down low at work. And I think like I really love my birthday now, and I love my friends' birthdays. I'm maybe a little too insane about it. I want to celebrate them so hardcore. And so this was just another piece of that. There's another piece of just really enjoying and acknowledging your aliveness. And I think that's maybe the more overarching theme. I think queer people and some, in particular, like non-binary people and trans people who are going through bad stuff right now, especially in Saskatchewan. This is kind of for them. But outside of that, that's kind of the concept that I wanted to explore, was just birthdays and what they mean to us and why we don't like them. There's a lot to honor in our families.
I had just gone to a comedian act. I took the wife out to it's a Winnipeg comedy thing at the Casino Regina, and I am blanking on the lady's name though, but she's like one of the classic Canadian comedians. She's also a lesbian, and it was kind of funny, like hearing her get up there at some point. Some bonehead says something in the stands, and like I didn't even understand his joke to start with, like what is going on, and then she laid into him, and this was by far the best part of the show. And it eventually laid to that, like, look, gay people or whatever, we still have the same relationship issues. Is there something to be like related there, like where you think these themes are maybe a little more universal?
Yeah, I think a lot of it does intersect with just our own mental health and our relationships to our family and the people in our lives. There'll be different factors, like being in a minority, that contribute to maybe the different weights or the different ways it comes across and comes out in your life. But, I think all of us do come into periods of our lives, whether briefly or for long periods of time, where we do struggle with things of depression, and we struggle with the way we reflect on our lives, what we're happy with and what we're not happy with, or reconciling with shame, or sometimes it's just grief. I think there's a lot of grief in all of our lives all the time, and that can come out in birthdays a lot too. And so, yeah, I think just like that general connectivity that We do all go through it. And I find occasions like birthdays to be a little more interesting where, you know, if it's a holiday like Christmas, it is about everyone, but on your birthday, you're very singled out. I think you're very isolated, and that's sometimes why it can feel like a strange time for a lot of people's, because the spotlight is on you unless someone shares your birthday. Yeah.
Yeah, and again too, the birthday is really something everyone can relate to, and I know there's people out there who, you know, you either have the side who loves it. Like I know people who spend a week selling their birthday. It's crazy. And then there's people honestly kind of more like me where I could care less. Like, okay, I got older, thanks, and move on, right? That's kind of what I like about those things too. I think it shows this real side of that I don't think, again, you said it's a problem in Saskatchewan. I don't think a lot of people really understand that. The comedian, by the way, was Elvira Kurt. I don't know if you guys know who she is, but super famous, super funny lady.
So this question is a little more technical because I'm kind of a camera nerd, but so when I first saw it, I had to do a double take as to going. I was literally going, is this animated? Is this shot on a camera? Is this like how did you get that look? Because it's got quite a unique look to it. And I love all the little details in that it's crafted just spectacular. Like it obviously took you forever to make it. But was that, how did it look the way that you wanted it to, or how did you stumble into that look or find that look? Because it looks like it was animated.
Yeah, it was a pretty intentional set design. I feel like everybody's films, it turned out a little differently than the initial vision. It was also much shorter than I wanted it to be, but that I think happens with animation and stop motion. Okay, so on the technical side, I was a bit intimidated on what camera to use for stop motion. So I used my phone.
Oh, wow.
I have a lot of very cute little camcorders that I love making for some experimental films, like the waterproof, drop proof little handhelds.
Yeah.
And I couldn't touch that. I really needed something accessible that I could watch the footage back as I was doing it to be like, okay, I got to retake.
Okay, yeah.
And the film to laptop port needed to be my method. So
I'm just dumbfounded. I can't take something that looks that good on my $5,000 camera.
Yeah, right. Like I was throwing my hands in the air. I'm just like, God, we don't need camera people anymore. It's just like, just use your phone.
Yeah, I used my phone for the actual filming, and the bedroom scene, the bathroom scene, those are all dioramas. So I did most of it out of cardboard, some of it out of polymer clay, and then I hand painted everything. So the dioramas were maybe this big, and I changed the camera to stay within the rooms. And then I had a puppet that I basically thrifted 2 Barbies, dissected them, put clay on their face, baked them in the oven. I sewed clothes on them and stuff, and then I just moved it frame by frame. Some stop motion animators do photo. I did video, so I did a continuous video, and I just went in, moved a hand, went out a scene, moved the hand, went out a scene, and then I just cut it all up. So I cut that video up, and then basically the moving video turned into such short clips, it was basically an image.
So would you take it specifically a single frame, or were you just cutting like, oh, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3?
I really planned it out. So I basically would say the script out loud, kind of figure out how many hand movements needed to go for that, take that scene, see if it matched up, and then move the camera and do it again. Mostly just because I worked by myself. So I didn't have someone who could click the button and then move it. I needed to try to keep everything still. And there's definitely some technical errors in this. I do recognize that. There's times where like you can see the bed sheet moving like a ghost, and that was just my hand pressing on it by accident. But you know, I was doing what I could for doing it all by myself. And then in terms of the animating aspect, the blinking of the eyelids is all animated. I've never animated before, so I just used my laptop trackpad and did like scene by scene eyelids over top of her every single time.
Oh, wow.
Which took a good chunk of the time towards this, was just blinking. Initially, I thought about doing a mouth as well, and that instantly proved difficult. So it's experimental. You can you can kind of like get away with that a little bit. So I did not animate the character's mouth, but that would be the part of animating. And then the very end, there's some green screen work. I put the puppet in front of a green screen and then used some Final Cut Pro overlays, as well as some stuff that I had done in the diorama, and blended it and meshed it. And yeah, I like did the music engineering for it too. So I just tried to match that up to the different scene changes and everything. There's a lot of moving parts. I just kind of was doing it as it went on and figuring it out.
Yeah. Wow. So doing this all by yourself, like I'm kind of curious right now, like what's your background? Because clearly you have some skill in some arts. You've got some skill with the music, you just said. You've got some skill with storytelling.
Yeah, I am an interdisciplinary artist. I do a lot of different kinds of art, but specifically in visual film and writing, more specifically poetry with writing. But I've been doing art my whole life. Like when I was a very, very young kid, had a turquoise blue digital camera and just filmed everything to the point where it was annoying all of my friends and family. I was just making these like almost mini documentaries. I'd put them together on the free editing softwares and then just show people, and they would say, I don't care. And I'm like, I'm gonna keep making more. I
you gotta watch painting. It again. You didn't understand.
Yeah, exactly. I grew up painting. Like I was raised on a farm, so it was just like me outside painting the horses and the animals and stuff. So I did that at a very young age, and I've always loved writing. I loved writing before I even liked reading. Used to make these like goofy little horror stories about my friends in elementary school, and that's kind of like the very, very core of it. From there, I just kept rolling with it. I do sell my visual art. I've done a lot of experimental short films. All of them are around 5 minutes. None of them have been too long. And then yeah, I have a couple books. I'm coming out with another book this year, a poetry book. So do a little bit of all of that. And I find it all feeds into itself, which is part of why I just call myself an interdisciplinary artist. I don't have a film without actually painting and making stuff, and I script it all and write that. So I feel like all of them intersect all the time.
That's crazy. And all self-taught, and you're doing it all on your own all the time?
Yeah, I did like a 1-year brief thing of fine arts at U of R, and I dropped out because I hated it. And and then I just started working. I kind of went right into it and started just doing my own things.
Wow. So do you have a day job, or is art and
I do, yeah.
Your...
It's come and gone. Right now I have a day job, but I've also had periods where I just do freelance. It really depends. Like out of all the film things that I do, I love video editing. It's probably my top favorite thing, is to just edit. I could do that for hours and I would not get bored. So there's been times where I've freelanced and just done video editing for different companies in Regina, and then remotely just across Canada. So right now, day job, it's a contract thing. So I'm probably going to go back to freelancing in the summer, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you. And honestly, too, like I said, that the culmination to where this film is today, it's impressive to reach that level and to get there and to do it on your own. So job well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's also impressive to do that. Like Amory and I are professionals at talking about doing a passion project. That like the talking about it part is where we really shine. Yeah. The actual doing it part, that's a whole nother step.
Yeah, when you're working another job, how do you find the time to do it, and how do you keep yourself going?
I feel like I kind of have this like endless well of ideas going on in my brain at all points in time, so I don't ever feel deprived of things I want to make. So finding the time, I think, just kind of follows suit often. You know, there's obviously, you're going to have like hard days where you don't want to do anything except for come home and lay down. That definitely happens. But I think art is so integrated in my daily life that it does work out. Like I'm a very analog type of person, which I think also makes it easier. I do my job online a lot. So when I'm writing, for example, I always have 1 or 2 notebooks on me. And as the ideas come in, I'll just spend time doing that. And sometimes even taking breaks at work, I just need an eye break from the computer. I'll just go and write a little bit. And I think just constantly having that practice ends up producing things, whether it's super intentional or not. Sometimes things that just require more time, I really do try to allocate like 1 weekend day fully to art if I have projects. And I think my friends understand how dedicated I am to it as well, and they respect that. So they help me find that time if I'm super busy or stressed out. When we're hanging out, it's also involving art, or I have really great people in my life, so maybe they'll go help me do an errand so I can focus on my art, and then I'll make that up to them later when I have free time and they're really busy. And so kind of a blend of community. I don't necessarily have that kind of, I don't really get creative block or writer's block or anything. I just have things on the go all the time that I'm very excited about. And then obviously when I'm freelancing, I make more stuff. I think I made this film and then I've been taking a break. So there's also ups and downs like a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of ebb and flow with it.
Yeah.
Have you submitted this to other festivals? Like, what's the feedback been so far?
I submitted it to a couple, and I did get accepted at one in Queens, New York. It's called Fairy Fang Festival. It's a little more of a startup one, I think. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend. I had kind of like a 1 week turnaround of knowing it was happening, and I didn't have the means to go to New York. But people have liked it. I felt very insecure publishing it. I do have it on YouTube. And just solely because it's just I haven't animated before. And of course, I think like many of us, we can make something and just see the things we don't like about it and see what didn't go right. And I am definitely one of my worst critics. So I wasn't entirely sure, but everyone who's given me feedback has really liked it. The person who I had the conversation with, who was inspired by, like, loved it. They said it made them very emotional to have that made from our conversation. So yeah, I think the reception's been good. I'm anticipating good stuff at the Moose Jaw Film Festival. I'm quite excited for people in the community to see it because it has been very online. It's been people I don't see, which feels a little different. Yeah.
So have you ever like viewed any of your work like with people in a communal setting, like watching it
a couple
on a screen?
Times, yeah.
Okay.
I had I do poetry films sometimes, which is essentially turning one of my poems into a film. Like, how do I just put visuals into that? So I had one of my poetry films at it was called Cell Film Fest. They went on for one singular year in Regina, like 3 years ago, for the Cathedral Arts Festival. So it was displayed there, and it felt weird because it's a poetry film kind of just about body and body image, and there's like a shot and I'm kind of topless and there's like old people in the room and I didn't really I was just like very bashful and didn't know what to do, but people were quite nice. I had people come up to me afterwards and they're like, oh, it reminds me of this film, it reminds me of this, you should check out this. And I had a different poetry film that displayed at Neutral Ground at some point along with 5 other people's, and that was a really packed room. We sold out of chairs and had to go borrow some from some next door people around Scarth Street. And yeah, same thing. We had the Q&A afterwards. They all had really great questions and were so kind. So there's been 2 occasions. Other than that, it's always been like in the States that people have picked up my films. So I'm still kind of getting my footing and still learning about all of the people here and the people making stuff here, which is one of the things that really excites me about this festival. I love that it is specifically Saskatchewan. I think we've been needing that for a while. So
yeah, It's a unique perspective to be really putting out something so personal, putting it out there for people to judge. And then, sitting in the room while they're watching it, a little bit different than watching, views go up online.
Yes.
So, and honestly too, like the amount of courage to put that sort of stuff up, right? Like I remember back when I was in film school, I did this one little short with my daughter. We had to do it's like a poetry explanation. I don't know what it was, but basically what I did, I got my daughter to do any version she wanted of Roses Are Red, and then she drew this picture, and then we went out and basically mirrored the picture of me and her together. And it was funny, like I made this thing, it was out of focus. I thought it was complete trash, but it was like this sort of like deeply personal thing, and this like really literal poetry thing. All these other art kids are doing these like artsy things with it. And I just did this. And, I was sitting in class, like hitting play, and I'm like, all right, give it to me, like rake me over the coals. And everybody was like, there was people like almost crying. And they're like, I don't know how to criticize this. And like, it was like, I was like, oh, okay, well, that was not what I expected. But again, it's kind of funny when you put yourself out there, you don't really know what you're going to get all the time. So
for sure,
it's a hard
I feel
thing
like
to do.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of always bracing for criticism just because I get hit with my own, and I'm just wait. But it doesn't really happen like that. I think I've received feedback, and it's always so nice and genuine and stuff I listen to, and it's not people like ripping into you, which is nice.
Yeah,
I can't believe that this was your first stop motion animated film. So I was just scrolling through, I was on your YouTube page, and it's like all you, and then there's this stop motion film, and then it's back to the other stuff. It's like I would have thought that was your specialty. So that's amazing.
I would love to do it again too, but I really don't know if I have it in me like anytime soon if I don't have a team. It got quite frustrating and exhausting, and like got so many hand cramps from editing with my trackpad. I was like, I don't have the equipment to do anything longer than this. I need like a team. So maybe eventually I will do it again, but I'm happy for this being my first one. And it's something, again, as I like think about some of the technical differences from what I intended, at least it was my first one. It'll get better from here. It's something I can remind myself to. So
yeah. Well, it's yeah, I can't believe how good it looks too. It's just like it looks fabulous.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm just trying to find the YouTube page here. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah, I think it's just under my name somewhere.
There you go.
It's
Nicole Mae. So people can go to YouTube, search Nicole Mae, and find out all about you.
Yeah, I can see my film there, and yeah, I kind of just do some random blog lifestyle stuff, and then interjected is art things. There's some poetry. There's other films I've done in here. I'm taking a current break, so there hasn't been anything for a little bit, but
that's all right.
Even too, like just looking at the animation, the flames there on the candles.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, it's so good.
And it was a lot of. When I was in high school, and that was the very first time I ever made YouTube videos, I would do this really chaotic way of coloring light bulbs where I would take a Sharpie and I would color in Dollarama light bulbs, and the light will absorb the Sharpie after maybe like 5-6 hours. So you have like that much time to use that light bulb. And that was my method for a while until I like could afford colored light bulbs, because I didn't grow up with any sort of like I was in poverty. And so for this film, I had just kind of these dinky little colored lights, some of those Philip Hue just changing color ones, and was constantly just moving those around. I had different I broke a light in the middle of filming it, so I had to order a new one, and then just a selfie light came in. Like I got the wrong thing in the mail, so I had to use a selfie light projected on the diorama, and there's just always like these little things that came up. But I am very happy with how the colors ended up turning out, because it wasn't anything on my editing side of it. It was just all utilizing the lights I had in so many minute changes of locations.
Nice. We went through your YouTube page. If people want to follow you, where else can they find you?
Yeah, I'm all over social media. I do have a website called peachpiles.com that has like a little bit of everything. But I'm on Instagram as well. I'm not on Facebook and I'm not on X because I just haven't been for years. But I'm around just like under my name.
Everything under Nicole Mae.
Yeah.
Cool. Nick, do you have anything else?
No, come and check out your film at the 12 o'clock block. It's yeah, I'm so shocked that it was that it was your first stop motion and filmed on a phone. I just don't even know how to make it look that good on a phone. I wouldn't be able to make it look that good on a cinema camera.
Yeah,
so,
to be clear,
well
like
done.
Nick and I spent years basically debating whether phones have taken over and whether we even need cameras anymore. Like is the camera guy, camera person thing even a thing anymore? And it's like, I don't know. I think you're proven basically it's not needed. So
it might need both things. You might need an artistic vision if you have a phone. Yeah, but sometimes you don't need an artistic vision and you can have a good camera. So I think there needs to be a balance.
You know what? I'm fine with being a dinosaur. It's okay. Yeah. I'll stick to my old fashioned ways and do silly things that nobody wants to watch online. I'll be perfect. Anyways, that was great. Nicole, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for inviting.
Yeah, and like we said, hopefully people get out and actually go and watch your short in that 12 o'clock session. Hopefully they watch all of them.
Yeah. Well, the cool part too is you'll be able to talk to almost all the people out in the lobby after that made the film. So that's kind of a neat part about going to a film festival, right?
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. There's people here that I know adjacently or know someone who knows them. And so it'll be nice to talk with them. And there's some films here that I've been wanting to see that like genuinely I was going to go out of my way to find somewhere. And then now they're just
which ones?
Here. The one right after mine, I think it's right after mine, or two, Clee by Gavin.
Okay.
Yeah, Gavin.
That was the one that got into TIFF.
Yeah.
Clee was? Okay.
Yeah.
He had made a film along with other people called Menace on 8th Street. Have you two heard of it?
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
It was great. It's so funny.
It's amazing. I watched it at Regina Public Library. They just had a free little screening. And I watched it because one of my friends, Bongani Musa, acts in it. So he lives in Toronto now. So he sent me there. He said, go watch my movie. I said, I will. I loved it, and then saw that they were coming out with Clee at some point. And so I've been actually very excited for this one, and I didn't know they were going to be a part of this till the announcement came up. So, and it's so soon after my block. So
yeah,
that's perfect. Well, that's perfect. Yeah. Well, yeah, again, go check it out. You can probably see Nicole down there as well if you end up showing up. If you haven't got your tickets yet, you probably should. Yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. Thanks again for coming on, Nicole.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have a great day, everybody.
Right on.
You too.
Good night.